I want to try something with you. Picture yourself watching a short video. Two teams of people, one wearing white shirts, one wearing black, are passing basketballs back and forth. Your task is simple. Count the number of passes made by the players in white shirts. You count carefully. The players move around each other. The passes come quickly. You focus. You get to the end of the video and you have your number. Now, did you notice the gorilla? Halfway through the video, a person in a full gorilla costume walks into the center of the frame. They stop. They look at the camera. They beat their chest. Then they walk out of the frame. The gorilla is visible for 9 seconds. Approximately half of the people who watch this video, concentrating on counting the white shirt passes, do not see the gorilla at all. Not as a flicker in the periphery, not as something they notice and then forget. They do not see it. They watch 9 seconds of a person in a gorilla suit standing in the middle of the screen and report with complete sincerity that no gorilla was present. Welcome back to the Brightest Experiments. Today we are inside one of the most famous demonstrations in the history of attention research. A study that has been watched by millions of people, replicated across dozens of cultures and contexts, and that reveals something about the mind that manages to be both obvious in retrospect and genuinely astonishing every single time it is encountered. This is the invisible gorilla experiment, and what it tells us about the limits of human attention and about the enormous gap between what we experience as full awareness and what our minds are actually registering is one of the most practically useful things you can know about how your own mind works. The year is 1999. Daniel Simons is a cognitive psychologist, first at Harvard and later at the University of Illinois, working on questions of visual attention and change detection. Christopher Chabris is a collaborator and fellow researcher. Together, they produce a video using students from Harvard, 6 of them, 3 in white shirts and 3 in black, passing 2 basketballs back and forth in a hallway. And they hire a person in a gorilla suit. The phenomenon they are demonstrating has a name: inattentional blindness. It had been documented in earlier, simpler studies, most notably by Ulrich Neisser in the 1970s, who superimposed 2 different teams passing a ball on the same film. But Simons and Chabris' gorilla version was cleaner, more dramatic, and more unforgettable than anything that had come before. Inattentional blindness is the failure to consciously perceive an unexpected stimulus when attention is engaged elsewhere. It is distinct from ordinary inattention, from not looking or being distracted. In inattentional blindness, your eyes are open. The stimulus is in your visual field. The light from it is falling on your retina. But because your attention is fully allocated to something else, the stimulus never reaches conscious awareness. The gorilla is not hidden. It is not small or ambiguous. It walks through the center of the scene in a distinctive costume and performs a conspicuous action. It is, by any normal measure, salient. But salience, it turns out, is not what determines whether something reaches consciousness. Attention determines that. And attention, in this case, was busy. Simons and Chabris ran their study with multiple groups of participants and found the same result consistently. Roughly half of those assigned the counting task failed to notice the gorilla. Participants who were not given a counting task, who simply watched the video, noticed the gorilla almost universally. The difference was not in the visual information available to the 2 groups. It was in what they had been asked to attend to. The researchers followed up the original study with a series of variations that deepened the picture considerably. In one version, the gorilla was replaced with a woman carrying an umbrella. still missed by approximately a third of counting participants. In another, they ran a second gorilla study on people who already knew about the first one, who had been warned that there might be an unexpected event in the video. Most of these participants noticed the gorilla, but in noticing it, they missed something else. Halfway through the video, the background curtain changes color. More than a third of the gorilla-aware participants failed to notice the curtain change because their attention had been redirected from the passes to watching for unexpected events. This is the most important extension of the original finding. Inattentional blindness is not something that happens to careless or inattentive people. It is not a correctable deficit. It is a structural feature of how human attention works. Attention is a finite resource. Whatever it is allocated to, it is not allocated to everything else. When you look for one thing, you are simultaneously not looking for other things. And the things you are not looking for can be gorilla-sized and still be invisible. The implications of this spread into almost every domain of practical human activity where attention is both limited and consequential, which is most of them. In medicine, studies applying the inattentional blindness paradigm to radiology have found that experienced radiologists searching chest scans for lung nodules fail to notice a gorilla-shaped figure superimposed on the scan at a rate comparable to the original basketball study. They were looking at the scan, they did not see it. Their expertise at finding nodules did not protect them from missing something they were not looking for. In driving, the phenomenon known as looked but failed to see, in which drivers involved in accidents report that they looked in the direction of the hazard before the collision but did not perceive it, maps directly onto the inattentional blindness mechanism. The driver was focused on the car ahead or the junction or the route. The cyclist or pedestrian was in the visual field and invisible. In any domain that requires sustained, focused attention, surgery, air traffic control, financial monitoring, security screening, the finding carries an urgent, practical message. The thing you are not looking for can be right in front of you. But the most important implication of the invisible gorilla study may be the most personal one. We walk through our lives with a powerful and largely unquestioned sense that we are aware of what is happening around us, that our experience is a faithful representation of the world, that if something significant is there, we will notice it. The gorilla tells us this is not quite right. Our experience is a construction, assembled from the small fraction of available information that our attention has selected, and it feels complete not because it is, but because we have no access to what we missed. The gorilla you did not see left no gap in your experience. It simply was not there. Knowing this is not destabilizing. It is clarifying. It tells you that in any situation where something important might be happening outside your current focus, the remedy is not to try harder. It is to deliberately redirect attention. To look away from what is currently occupying you and ask, what else is here? What am I not seeing? What would I notice if I were looking for something different? That question, asked regularly with genuine curiosity, is one of the most practical gifts that attention research has to offer. Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris made a low-budget video in a Harvard hallway and produced one of the most replicated and most discussed findings in the history of cognitive science. The gorilla has been seen by millions of people who did not expect to miss it and did anyway. And the finding it demonstrates has changed how researchers, educators, and practitioners in a dozen different fields think about the fundamental relationship between attention and awareness. You are missing things right now. So is everyone else. The question is only what, and whether you are curious enough to go looking. Next time, we move from the limits of visual attention to one of its most remarkable capacities, the ability to isolate a single voice in a noisy room and follow it while filtering out everything else. Colin Cherry discovered this phenomenon in 1953, and what he found launched an entirely new field. That is the cocktail party effect, and it is coming right up. Leave a comment. Did you see the gorilla the first time you heard about this study? And has knowing about inattentional blindness changed anything about how you pay attention? I'd love to know. Subscribe so you're here for the next episode. I'll see you then.